Kenny, the Jet Smith, role player to champion. Kenny might be known today for being part of the greatest basketball show on television alongside Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, and Ernie Johnson inside the TNT studio. The show is iconic. The chemistry is undeniable. The analysis is sharp. The banter is legendary. But before the studio lights, before the desk, before the analysts' chairs, Kenny Smith was something else entirely. He was the definition of a role player, becoming a legend in championship moments. When the stakes were highest, when everything was on the line, when a team needed someone to deliver under pressure, Kenny Smith answered. He did not answer as the star. He did not answer demanding the ball or seeking attention. He answered as the spark. He answered as the connector. He answered as the player who made everyone around him better. This is the story of how a shooter, a floor general, and a champion carved his place in NBA history. This is the story of how a role player became essential. Kenneth Smith was born on March 8, 1965, in Brooklyn, New York, and raised in Queens. Basketball was everywhere in Queens. Playgrounds, churches, city gyms, high school courts that echoed with the sounds of competition. The game was not just recreation. It was culture. It was identity. At Archbishop Malloy High School, under the legendary coaching of Jack Curran, Smith became one of the top guards in the entire nation. He was a McDonald's All-American. He was a pure shooter in development. He understood spacing. He understood timing. He understood how to run an offense. Most importantly, he understood how to compete. He understood that basketball was about winning, not about personal statistics. That foundation, that understanding of the game, would define everything that came after. Kenny Smith chose the University of North Carolina, playing under the legendary coach Dean Smith. There at Carolina, he shared the court with a young Michael Jordan. They were teammates. They played together. They pushed each other. Carolina basketball was discipline. It was spacing. It was precision. It was about doing things the right way. By his senior year, Kenny Smith had become a consensus All-American. He averaged 16.9 points and 6.1 assists. He was not just a scorer. He was a leader. He was a shooter. He was a winner. The University of North Carolina produced winners. Kenny Smith was no exception. In 1986, Kenny Smith represented Team USA in the FIBA World Championship. This was a significant moment in his career. It was the last American team made entirely of amateur players, the college stars competing against the best professionals in the world. The pressure was immense. The stakes were enormous. Smith responded by averaging nearly 15 points per game. He helped lead the United States to a gold medal victory over the Soviet Union. Pressure did not shake him. It sharpened him. It clarified his focus. It made him better. In 1987, the Sacramento Kings selected Kenny Smith 6th overall in the NBA draft, 6 feet 3 inches tall, 170 pounds. A point guard built on speed and shooting. There was elegance to his game. There was efficiency. There was intelligence. Under head coach Bill Russell, Smith immediately became a starter. He earned all-rookie first-team honors. His NBA journey began under the guidance of a legend. Bill Russell, one of the greatest winners in basketball history, was coaching Kenny Smith. That influenced Smith. That shaped Smith. That taught Smith about winning at the highest level. After stops in Atlanta and Detroit, Kenny Smith found his basketball home in Houston. This was where everything changed. This was where his career trajectory shifted. Paired with Hakeem Olajuwon, one of the greatest centers ever to play the game, the Rockets built a contender. The Rockets built something special. Smith was not the centerpiece of that team. Hakeem was the centerpiece. Hakeem was the engine. But Smith was the connector. He was the spacing. He was the tempo. He was the calm presence that allowed everything else to work. He was the shooting guard who could stretch defenses. He was the guard who could run the offense. He was the leader who could hold things together. Hakeem needed someone like Kenny Smith. And Kenny Smith understood his role. He embraced his role. He excelled in his role. In 1995, the Houston Rockets faced the Orlando Magic in the NBA Finals. Game 1. The stakes could not have been higher. Two powerhouse teams competing for the championship. The game was close. The game was tight. It came down to the final seconds. The Rockets were down 3. The game seemed decided. But Kenny Smith had other plans. He caught the ball. He rose up. He shot. The ball went through the net. Three-pointer. The game was tied. The Rockets were alive. The series would go to overtime. And the Rockets won. They won Game 1. They went on to sweep the series. But that moment, that shot, that three-pointer by Kenny Smith, that was the moment that changed the trajectory of the entire finals. Smith finished Game 1 with 23 points and 7 three-pointers. An NBA Finals record at that time. A role player becoming immortal. A role player delivering the most important shot of the finals. The Houston Rockets captured back-to-back titles in 1994 and 1995. 2 consecutive championships. A dynasty. Through 57 playoff games during that championship run, Kenny Smith shot nearly 46% from 3. Efficient, fearless, clutch. He did not chase headlines. He did not demand the ball. He did not need attention. Across his career, Kenny Smith scored over 9,300 points. He dished out 4,000 assists. He shot nearly 40% from 3, one of the most efficient shooters of his era. Kenny Smith built a career on readiness. He built a career on preparation. He understood that you did not know when your moment was coming. You did not know when the game would be decided by your shot. You did not know when your team would need you most. So you prepared every single day as if that moment was coming. Yet you worked every single day as if you were going to be asked to deliver in the finals. That mentality, that preparation, that commitment to readiness defined his entire career. After his playing career ended, Kenny Smith became the voice of the game. He became an analyst. He became a commentator. Inside the NBA turned him into a cultural icon. The show became legendary. The banter became iconic. The analysis became sharp. Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, Ernie Johnson, and Kenny Smith became the gold standard of sports broadcasting. But the analyst was built by the competitor. The analyst was built by the champion. The analyst was built by the role player who delivered when history called. The television presence did not create Kenny Smith. The championship moments created Kenny Smith. The finals performances created Kenny Smith. In the countless practices, the preparation, the understanding of how to win, that created the man you see on television. Kenny Smith proved that championships are not only won by stars. They are not only won by the players who score 40 points per game. They are not only won by the players who dominate headlines. They are secured by players who refuse to blink. They are secured by players who show up in crucial moments and deliver. They are secured by players who understand their role and execute it with precision. Championships are won when preparation meets opportunity, when a role player meets a moment, when a shooter is asked to make the biggest shot and he makes it. Kenny Smith understood this at his core. He lived this truth. He proved this principle with his play. This is the story of Kenny Smith. This is Humble Fire.